Hello, welcome to my channel. And today we're going to talk about why the middle class wages aren't growing. And there's a lot of speculation why the middle class wages are not growing. We could say some people blame Ronald Reagan when he implemented the how capitalism was produced, where the rich become richer, the poor becomes poorer. And also too, he invented the not stock market, but the way those stock market rises during the 80s was able to gain a lot of money for the corporations at the time. And also unions started going away. And at the end of the day, I could also say basically pretty much wages has been going down, especially where houses, food, and the stuff we need is going up more than wages. And so everyone's at a cross point where we could say, hey, it's really working? Was a mean to necessary to help pay my bills? Or could I live off somebody and not work? Or could I just rely on the government and still live off of that? And at the end of the day, which is there's nothing wrong with all these options, which I mean, I support working because I believe as a man you should work. But I know now that's not the case, and we're living in different times. So if you disagree with me, let me know down in the comment section. And we're going to get right to the video and react from CNBC why middle class wages are not really growing.
Between 1979 to 2024, productivity in the US soared by 80.9%, while hourly pay grew by just 29.4% during the same period.
The paychecks of typical workers have not grown nearly as fast as overall economic growth over the past 40 years.
In June 2024, 2/3 of middle-income households believed that their income was falling behind the cost of living.
I think that many Americans feel the financial struggle because their household budget and their household balance sheets are facing so much pressure.
Every time I check my local mom group on Facebook, I see requests or people asking where they can get some financial assistance to pay utilities or assistance with rent. And
wow. And I think a lot of that is on the rise too. Now you got rent assistance payment plans, electrical payment plans that helps you pay with your electric bill. Also, I think you got a food payment plan bill. And also, which very surprisingly, I did not know there were groups about this too, that you can just go in and ask, hey, I need help, and see if they're willing to help you or not, which is really cool. And I like it. And that's where I believe in is the community where we can help people so they can help us later on down the road.
it's concerning because these people are working full-time jobs and they just can't make things work right now.
The issue of wage trends,
Yeah, which is sad, and I'm going through this too. I'm working a lot, over 40 hours, and I'm still don't have a lot left over. There used to be a thing where you work a lot, you won't able to struggle. But at the end of the day, it's like the more you work, you're still struggling. And something's got to change. Or, I mean, always you can increase your skill sets and all that, but something will have to change at the end of the day.
Depression. I mean, it just could not be more central to what has happened to the middle class over the past couple of decades.
So what exactly is keeping the middle class from earning a higher paycheck?
I think people think inflation is a policy problem, but wages are my problem. And it turns out wages are not just your problem. Wages are entirely a policy and political variable.
The main goal of policymakers at the Federal Reserve is to ensure maximum employment while keeping prices stable.
Now, comment below. Do you guys and lady out there understand maximum employment while keeping prices stable? What does that mean to you? Comment down below.
They rely on various economic data to guide their decisions, including the natural rate of unemployment.
Economists produce this thing they call the natural rate of unemployment. It's like the lowest unemployment can go without generating inflation.
Throughout history, the natural rate of unemployment has hovered between 4.5% and 5.5%.
And then we look at actual unemployment and how often it is above that estimate of the natural rate versus below. And if you look at the years since 1979, we have spent far more time with actual unemployment well above that estimate of the natural rate.
Between 1949 and 1979, the actual unemployment rate was cumulatively 15.3% below the natural rate of unemployment. In contrast, the unemployment rate was cumulatively 35.7% above the natural rate of unemployment.
So I'm curious to know, the 15 minus 15.3, is that the actual real unemployment rate compared to the non-cycle rate of unemployment? Because honestly, in my opinion, I know they said the actual unemployment rate as of today was 4.1%. I think it's a lot higher. And I'm not saying any conspiracy theories, and but personally, in my opinion, I think it's a lot higher than that. Because at the end of the day, it's hard to get jobs out here. So something's not right, in my opinion.
Between 1979 and 2017. This has real-world consequences for the American middle class because wages tend to grow faster during periods when unemployment is low. The Economic Policy Institute estimates that just a 1 percentage point drop in unemployment leads to wage growth of 0.4 to 0.9 percentage points for workers near the median of the wage distribution.
The best bargaining chip any employee has to getting wage growth is going to the boss and saying, I'm going to go somewhere else unless I make more money. And that's just not a credible threat when unemployment is high. The only people whose wages are not very affected by unemployment are like the 90th and 95th percentile. Like they don't need super low unemployment to get some consistent wage growth, but the middle class absolutely does.
This means the Federal Reserve's policy decisions that result in higher than necessary unemployment might be creating conditions that actively hold back wage growth for middle-class Americans. Location could be another factor.
There are other reasons for why we've seen less growth in the middle than, say, at the other parts of the distribution. Another one is just that.
Yes, location does play a role in how much you make. Now, if you're in Florida or Texas, no shout out to no offense to them. Those are mostly retirement states. They don't pay as much when you go to a place like Atlanta or like a California or New York, where they tend to pay more wages there at the end of the day. And I know in Florida and Texas, there are a lot more older people that are really retired. That's why the industries that pay more in that time will be healthcare and tech, because those are the two that really generate from those retirement states. And also throw in Nevada. And that's why it's so attractive to them that you have nice places and it's low living. And that's how the way they want these states want it at the end of the day. And so this is why you got to be careful. Where if you want to make a bag, you got to go a place where they're paying you the most amount of money. But I do understand now when we go into California, New York, those places are a lot higher. And that's why they're migrating to the South, where like you're in Tennessee, Atlanta, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and they're all coming down because of that low cost of living. And now they're raising prices for the locals that live there to get that Chicago, that New York money, to get that California money, because at the end of the day, they really want to some more money. It's a business, I guess. Hey, who knows?
People don't move as much as they used to.
The share of Americans on the move has declined over the years, from more than 20% in 1948 to just 8.7% in 2022. Between 1986 and 1997, almost 29% of job seekers relocated for new jobs. That number has fallen to just 1.6% in 2023. Location plays a crucial role in wages. Despite the surge in remote work during the COVID-19 pandemic, wages for remote and hybrid jobs haven't grown nearly as much as salaries for full-time in-office roles, with some research estimating that remote workers could earn up to 30% more if they came into the office 5 days a week.
Decades ago, when I was a worker living in sort of a lower opportunity area, I would move to a higher productivity city, like maybe San Francisco or New York City or Los Angeles. And as a result, I'd be able to capture higher wages, gain more skills, and then move up the income distribution. Now there's a lot less people moving across areas to capture those opportunities. Real reason behind that is astronomical housing costs that are due to excessive regulations at local levels.
Yes, and also I would like to add also remote work plays a big role into it now. So a person can stay in California and still work those wages in Georgia. So, it's, or the other way around. It could be also the other way around too. Because at the end of the day, they are really looking for wage growth, if I'm being honest with you.
Home prices hit a record high in June 2024, with existing homes selling at a median price of $426,900. In line with typical seasonal trends, home prices declined in July and August, but still set new records for those months.
The overwhelming number of jobs in the US are in places that have really not seen much construction of housing.
Some economists also argue that globalization has played a pivotal role in stalling wage growth for middle-income Americans.
The expansion of trade with countries that have much lower wages, I think that was always going to provide quite a bit of pressure on the US middle class, because so much of that trade runs through like the manufacturing sector, which is where a lot of middle class jobs have been.
Between 1995 and 2013, trade with lower wage nations like Mexico and China reduced wages for workers without a 4-year degree by roughly 5.6%, or about 2,000.
Wow, that is crazy. Roughly 5.6 wages reduct for workers without a 4-year college degree. And when you hear that, it's really sad. But this is the way how it is. It's all about business and making money. And I think this is why we're seeing a surge of younger people wanting to get in business, to understand how the economy works and what they can do to fulfill their dreams and help them to start a business. Because in my opinion, I really think there's no better time to start a business than right now. It used to be a time when I was growing up and before I born, work for the company, work for the man. But now it's a new thing where we need really more new business starting up. And I'm going to end the video right here. Yeah, start your new business out there. Find a way, improve your credit score, save up, write a business plan. First, figure out what business you want to start, because maybe the key is not trying to work for the man, but maybe the key is to start our own business where we can employ our people to help out the community around us. I think that's the plan. And if you want to watch my next video over here where I react to this financial advisor or social media financials, where if I agree with this advice or not, you can watch this video right up here.